Inside a massive white mansion, a wealthy man lies motionless on a leather chair. His safe sits open. Cash and gold scatter across cold marble, the kind of cold that seeps through skin into bone. A hidden camera blinks red on the ceiling. He watches through half-closed eyes, controlling his breath, counting each inhale, waiting. His fingers dig into the chair's armrest, nails pressing crescents into expensive leather. The air smells like steel and silence. Then footsteps, small ones. Not the confident stride of an adult thief, but the hesitant shuffle of a child. She wears oversized yellow gloves that slip down her wrists and carries a worn notebook with a faded unicorn on the cover, a creature that believes in magic in a house that believes in nothing. What she does in the next 30 seconds will shatter a man who built his life on certainty. But to understand why he set this trap, you need to know about the walls, not the ones made of concrete, the ones built inside his chest. His name is David, 42 years old, a billion-dollar empire, an empty house. He does not lack money. He lacks the ability to trust it. 5 years ago, his younger brother stole their parents' life savings and vanished the same night their mother died. His ex-wife signed divorce papers with the same pen she once used to write love letters. His best friend shook his hand at a business meeting, then sold him out before the handshake ended. Since then, David lives behind passcodes and cameras. He believes one thing with religious certainty: everyone betrays, everyone has a price. The only question is how high. He has tested employees, business partners, even charity workers. None passed. But today, someone small enters his fortress. Someone who does not understand the test. Someone who terrifies him precisely because she might prove him wrong. And being wrong means 5 years of isolation were his own fault. Monday morning. The front door opens with a click that echoes through empty hallways. A black woman enters, shoulders curved inward like someone used to making herself smaller. Her uniform is pressed but faded from too many washes. Behind her, a thin child with thick glasses that slide down her nose. The girl's sweater has patches sewn with uneven stitches, the kind a mother makes late at night when thread and time are running out. This is Rachel. The child is Emma. They come from the East Side slums, where tap water runs brown and electricity is a luxury that disappears without warning. Rachel cannot afford childcare. So Emma comes to work, sits quiet, takes up no space. The butler introduces them through David's office window. He does not open the door, just watches through bulletproof glass, coffee cooling in his hand. Rachel bows. Her daughter stands frozen, gripping her unicorn notebook against her chest like a shield. Emma's eyes hold no fear, no hope either. Just the blank acceptance of a child who learned early that adults look through her, not at her. David activates the cameras, 63 lenses throughout the house, living room, hallways, storage closets, even the bathroom, though he deactivated that one after his lawyer raised concerns. He pulls up the monitor grid, watches Rachel work. She moves like someone who knows she is being watched, precise, careful, never touching anything unnecessary. Emma sits cross-legged in the corner, opens her notebook, draws with a pencil worn down to a stub. The girl makes no sound, asks for nothing, just exists in the margins. Day 2. David leaves an expensive fountain pen on the dining table. Afternoon comes. Rachel finds it during cleaning. She wipes dust from the cap, places it exactly where she found it, angle unchanged. Emma watches from the doorway, says nothing. Day 3. A blank check with his signature falls near the trash can. Rachel picks it up, smooths the crease, slides it into his desk drawer. Emma observes her mother, nods once, a small movement of understanding passing between them. Day 4. He drops a gold watch into the waste bin, covers it with crumpled papers. Rachel finds it while emptying trash. She rinses it under the tap, dries it with her sleeve, returns it to his desk. Her hands shake slightly as she sets it down. David sits before his monitor wall, jaw tight, eyes narrowed. He believes eventually everyone reveals their nature. It is simply mathematics. Time plus temptation equals truth. But Rachel and Emma do not know they are equations. They only know how to survive honestly, because dishonesty requires energy they cannot afford. And each day they pass his tests, David feels something dangerous growing in his chest. Not trust, not yet. Something worse. Hope. Hope that he might have been wrong. And if he was wrong, then 5 years of loneliness were self-inflicted. That thought terrifies him more than any theft ever could. Day 5. David stages his masterpiece. While Rachel cleans downstairs, he calls Emma to his office. "I have a coloring book for you," he says, voice neutral, gesturing toward a shelf. She enters on silent feet. He pretends his phone rings, steps into the hallway, speaks loudly to no one, letting his voice carry. Then returns and arranges himself on the leather sofa, lies down, closes his eyes, slows his breathing into the rhythm of sleep. Next to him, the safe yawns open, stacks of hundreds, gold bars catching afternoon light, a diamond Rolex sprawled on its side. Several bills have fallen to the floor. He placed them there, making it look accidental, making it look easy. The room holds its breath. Air conditioning hums. The camera's red eye blinks, blinks, blinks. David lies frozen, every nerve screaming. His ears track her footsteps across hardwood. 7 steps, 8, stop. Silence stretches. His heart hammers against his ribs so hard he worries she can hear it. 3 seconds, 5, 10, 15. His palms sweat into the sofa cushion. Move, he thinks. Do something. Prove me right. Please, prove me right. Soft footsteps approach. Closer. He almost opens his eyes, almost ends the test. Because part of him wants her to take the money, needs her to take it. If she does, the world makes sense again. Betrayal is predictable, trustworthy. But if she does not, the footsteps stop beside him. He senses her small body, hears her breathe, then she kneels. The sound of her knees touching marble is so quiet he barely catches it. Fabric rustles, paper crinkles. 1 bill, 2, 3. She is not grabbing them, she is collecting them, the way you collect something precious and fragile. He hears her smooth, each one flat, stack them with care. The soft click of paper on paper, then the whisper of the safe door closing. No slam, no sound of victory. Just the gentle pressure of small hands, making things right. But she does not leave. Footsteps come toward him. Stop. He feels her shadow fall across his face. What is she doing? His throat tightens. Then the lightest touch on his chest. Her fingers adjusting his crooked tie, straightening a wrinkle in his vest. The gesture is so tender, so unexpected, that his eyes burn behind closed lids. She pauses. Then he hears her head bow, the soft exhale of respect. Footsteps retreat. The door closes with a click softer than a heartbeat. David lies there, unable to move, unable to breathe, unable to understand what just broke open inside him. 15 seconds pass. 20. David opens his eyes, stares at the ceiling's acoustic panels. His chest heaves. Fingers tremble when he touches his tie, still warm, where her small hands press the fabric smooth. Heat radiates from the spot, the kind of warmth that comes from human touch, from care. He has not felt that in 5 years. He lurches to the computer, rewinds the footage, watches frame by frame. Emma's face fills the screen. No calculation in those eyes, no glance toward the camera, no performance. Just a child, doing what she believes is right, because no one taught her anything else. He watches her smooth the bills, watches her close the safe, watches her adjust his tie with the concentration of someone who loves a stranger, loves without reason. David collapses into his chair, covers his face. His hands smell like leather and desperation. In his mind, faces parade past, his brother laughing at a family dinner 3 days before the theft, his ex-wife crying in the lawyer's office while her attorney calculated percentages, his best friend clapping his shoulder, saying, "Trust me," hours before the betrayal. They all said they cared. All swore loyalty. All performed love beautifully. But this child said nothing, did not promise, did not ask for anything, just acted. And in that silence lives something money cannot purchase or contracts cannot guarantee. Pure goodness, the kind that exists without audience or reward. He turns off the monitor. Through the window, Rachel hangs laundry in the garden. White sheets snap in the breeze like surrender flags. Emma stands beside her mother, folding towels into clumsy rectangles, tongue caught between teeth in concentration. They have no idea they just accomplished what dozens of employees, partners and lovers could not, made David question the foundation of his entire worldview. The house feels different, still large, still white, but the silence has changed texture, not empty anymore, full of possibility, full of danger. Because every time he opened his heart, someone reached in and tore pieces out. Every time he trusted, he paid for it. But what if? The thought stops him cold. What if his armor kept out enemies and allies alike? What if he built a fortress so complete that even love could not find the door? He stands, walks to the window, presses his palm against the glass. Outside, Emma looks up. Their eyes meet. She waves, small fingers opening and closing. He raises his hand, waves back, and feels something crack in his chest, not breaking, opening, like ice hearing the first whisper of spring. But while light seeps into his guarded heart, darkness watches from another corner. Darkness wearing a familiar face. Darkness that has waited 10 years for exactly this moment of weakness. The following days, David cannot stop returning to that footage. Frame by frame, hour by hour. He memorizes the way Emma's fingers hesitate before touching the money. The way she bites her lower lip while smoothing each bill. The way she looks at him not with pity, but with something simpler, care. At night, he lies awake counting ceiling cracks, asking questions he buried 5 years ago. What if his brother reached out and he missed it? What if love spoke quietly and he only listened for screams? Morning comes, he does something his body resists, walks downstairs. The kitchen smells like coffee and detergent, ordinary smells that somehow feel sacred. Rachel wipes plates in circular motions, each movement precise. Emma sits on a cracked plastic chair, legs swinging, reading a picture book held together with grocery tape. Neither speaks. But the silence is not empty. It is full of small sounds, water running, pages turning, breathing, the kind of silence that exists when people feel safe. David stands in the doorway. Rachel startles, drops the towel. Emma looks up, does not smile, just acknowledges him with a slight nod, keeping distance, protecting herself. "Your coffee is ready, sir," Rachel says, voice barely above a whisper. He takes the cup, white ceramic, warm against his palms. He holds it longer than necessary. "You do good work." Rachel dips her head. Emma's eyes brighten just a fraction, like clouds thinning enough to hint at sun. David leaves holding his coffee, but for the first time in 5 years, the house does not echo with emptiness. It hums with presence, and that terrifies him, because presence requires vulnerability, and vulnerability invites pain. What he does not know, someone else noticed this softening, someone who spent 10 years waiting for David to trust again, Someone who knows exactly how to weaponize that trust. Someone who has been watching from the shadows and whose patience has finally run out. 2 weeks later, the phone rings at 6 a.m., the hour when bad news travels. David answers, already knowing. Rachel's voice cracks through the receiver. "Sir, my mother is dying. I need to go to the hospital. Just today. Please." He hears Emma crying in the background, high-pitched, desperate. The sound drills into his chest. "Go," he says. "Take as long as you need." That evening, the house transforms into a mausoleum. No light footsteps, no humming while folding laundry, no crayons scratching paper. Just silence, the old kind, the kind that used to feel safe. Now it feels like suffocation. David sits at his desk, unable to work. Keeps seeing Emma's drawing taped to his monitor, 4 stick figures holding hands. One of them wears his tie. Morning. Rachel returns alone, eyes swollen into slits. She tries to hide it, turning away to hang her coat, but her shoulders shake. Emma stayed at the hospital. Someone needs to hold her grandmother's hand while machines breathe for her. David pretends to work, stares at spreadsheets that blur into meaningless numbers. At 3 p.m., he stands, grabs his keys, drives to the hospital without deciding to. His hands just turn the wheel. His feet just press the pedals. The hospital smells like disinfectant, trying to mask decay. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. He finds the room number, approaches the door. Through the small window, he sees her. Emma sits in a chair too big for her body, holding a wrinkled hand attached to tubes. Her grandmother lies motionless, except for the mechanical rise and fall of her chest. Emma sings so quietly he can barely hear through the glass, a lullaby. Her voice cracks on the high notes. David stands frozen in the hallway. His vision blurs. He wipes his eyes quickly, looking around to ensure no one sees. But the tears keep coming, because he remembers. Sitting beside his father's hospital bed, holding a hand that could no longer squeeze back. That was 17 years ago, back when he still believed death was the worst thing that could happen. Before he learned that betrayal kills slower and deeper than any disease. He knocks, soft, 2 taps. Emma turns. Her eyes widen behind smudged glasses. Rachel stands quickly, wiping her face with her sleeve. "Sir, why are you here? I wanted to see if you need anything." His voice sounds foreign, hoarse. Rachel shakes her head rapidly. "We cannot ask you for anything more. You have already been so kind." But David walks past her, stands at the foot of the bed. The old woman is thin bones visible beneath papery skin. Grey hair spreads across the pillow like cobwebs. The ventilator hisses. In, out. In, out. "She sings beautifully," he says, looking at Emma. The child stands, clutching her notebook. "Grandma taught me. Before she got sick, she said singing keeps the dark away." David nods. His throat closes. She was right. That breaks Rachel. She turns toward the wall, shoulders heaving. Sobs she has been holding in all day pour out in waves. David stands awkwardly, hands at his sides. He does not know how to comfort. Never learned. But Emma does. The child walks to her mother, wraps small arms around her waist, presses her face into Rachel's hip. Then Emma turns, reaches into her notebook, pulls out a folded paper, hands it to David with both hands formal, like presenting a gift. "I made this for you." He unfolds it carefully. A crayon drawing, 4 figures holding hands. A tall man in a blue tie, a woman with curly hair, a small girl with glasses, an old woman in a wheelchair. All smiling, all connected. Below, in shaky letters, "Family is where everyone is loved." David stares at the paper. His hands shake. The edges blur. He wants to speak but knows if he opens his mouth, sound will not come, only sobs. So he just nods, places his hand on Emma's head. Her hair is soft and warm, pats gently. Once, twice. Then he turns quickly, walks out, closes the door behind him. In the hallway, he leans against the wall, slides down until he is sitting on the cold linoleum, presses his palms against his eyes. The drawing is still clutched in his fist, crinkling. He smooths it out, looks at the 4 smiling figures, and for the first time in 5 years asks himself, what if he is wrong? What if not everyone is poison? What if some people are medicine? He drives home in silence, opens the front door. The mansion is huge and white and perfectly empty, but now he sees it differently, not as safety, as a prison. Because all this space, all this money, all these cameras and locks, none of it matters if there is no one to protect, no one to share with, no one to trust. He walks to his office, opens the safe, takes out a white envelope, thick and new, counts out $20,000, slides in a scholarship contract he had his lawyer draft yesterday, full coverage, elementary through university, living expenses included. Writes on the envelope, for hospital bills and Emma's future. Next morning, Rachel arrives, eyes red but determined. He hands her the envelope before she can take off her coat. I cannot. This is not charity. His voice is firm. This is a bonus for your work, and an investment in Emma's future. She deserves every opportunity. Rachel's hands shake as she opens the envelope, sees the cash, the contract. Her knees buckle. She covers her mouth, crying again but different tears. Not grief, hope. Sir, you do not know what this means. I do. He pulls a smaller envelope from his pocket, and this is for Emma. Inside, a delicate chain with a star pendant, silver, worn smooth by time. Rachel stares. It was my mother's, David says. His voice cracks. She gave it to me before she died, made me promise to give it to someone who deserves it. I think she would want Emma to have it. Rachel cannot speak, just cries and nods. And for a moment, David lets himself imagine something impossible. A house with laughter, dinners with conversation, a child's drawing on his refrigerator, a family not built by blood, but by choice. But in the hallway, hidden behind a partially closed door, someone watches, someone whose smile does not reach his eyes, someone who has been carefully planning, and that person sees David's happiness as a threat, as an obstacle, as something that must be destroyed before it is too late. Thomas stands in the shadow of the hallway, jaw clenched, watching his employer laugh with Rachel. Actually laugh, a sound Thomas has not heard in 10 years, 10 years of service, 10 years of loyalty. And now, 2 strangers waltz in, and suddenly David remembers how to smile. Thomas was once the only person David trusted, the only one with safe combinations and master keys, the only one who managed the house when David traveled. And yes, the only one who has been quietly bleeding the company dry for 36 months. Small withdrawals, forged signatures on minor contracts, just enough to build an offshore account, just enough to disappear. He had a plan. Perfect. Simple. Wait for the right moment. Take one last big score from David's personal safe, then vanish before anyone noticed the pattern. But now, there is a problem. 2 problems, actually. A woman and a child who somehow cracked David's armor. Thomas watches David hand Rachel an envelope, watches her cry, watches Emma receive a necklace and hug the man who was supposed to stay cold and paranoid forever. Because a paranoid David is a distracted David. But a trusting David? That is a David who might start asking questions, might review old transactions, might notice the slow leak of money over 3 years. That cannot happen. Thomas already booked his flight, already transferred most of the funds. He just needs one final piece, the $500,000 in David's office safe. and he needs someone to blame when it disappears. Someone David will believe stole it. Someone whose presence already seems too good to be true. That night, after everyone sleeps, Thomas disables the main security system, enters the office, opens the safe using the code only he and David know, takes stacks of cash, wraps the most expensive gold watch in a handkerchief, then walks quietly to the cleaning supply closet, opens Rachel's cart, the one she leaves in the hallway every night, slides the watch beneath folded towels, steps back, admires his work. Perfect. Tomorrow, justice will be swift, and by tomorrow night he will be gone. But in the darkness, he does not see the small figure watching from the staircase, small eyes, wide and unblinking, remembering everything. Morning shatters with alarms, piercing, relentless. David jolts awake, heart hammering, runs downstairs in bare feet. His office door is open, he knows he locked it. The safe yawns empty. Cash scattered like snow, gold bars gone, the Rolex, his father's Rolex, missing. Thomas appears, face painted with concern. "Sir, the security system was disabled. I am checking everything now, but..." "Who can disable it?" David's voice is ice. "Only you and I have the code, sir." "But..." Thomas hesitates perfectly. "Last night, I saw Rachel near your office. Very late." David's chest tightens. "No, not her. Not them." "What time?" "Around 10 p.m., after she was supposed to leave." Thomas looks pained, reluctant. "I did not think anything of it then, but now." "Get her. Now." Rachel arrives with Emma, both in nightclothes. They have been staying in the guest house since the hospital visits. Rachel's face drains of color when she sees the chaos. Emma clutches her mother's hand, eyes wide with fear. "Rachel." David's voice returns to its old coldness. The voice he used before they came, before he stupidly let himself hope. "Were you in my office last night?" "No, sir, I swear. I went to bed at 8:30. Emma was with me the whole time." Thomas speaks softly, like he hates what he must say. "I understand you want to protect yourself, but perhaps we should check your belongings, just to rule it out." "Belongings?" Rachel looks at Thomas, then at David. Her eyes fill with betrayal. "You think I..." "The cart," Thomas says gently. "Your cleaning cart, for everyone's peace of mind." David nods. His heart is a stone in his chest. They pull the cart into the office. Thomas opens compartments slowly, methodically, building suspense. Then stops. His face goes pale. "Sir, I am sorry. I am so sorry." He lifts the cloth. Beneath it, the gold, Rolex, catching morning light, unmistakable. The room crystallizes into silence. Rachel stands frozen, mouth opening and closing, no sound emerging. Emma begins to shake, tears streaming down her face. "No, no, no, no. I did not, sir. Please." Rachel's voice breaks into pieces. "Mom did not do it." Emma screams. "She did not." Thomas shakes his head slowly. Sadly, "I warned you, sir. I told you not to trust too quickly, but you did not listen." David stares at the watch. His father's watch. The one his father wore when he died, the one he swore never to let leave his sight, and here it is, in Rachel's cart, evidence undeniable. He built his entire life on evidence, on proof, on the certainty that trust requires verification. "Call the police," he says. His voice sounds far away. "No!" Emma's scream is primal. She runs to David, grabs his hand with both of hers. You cannot do this. Mom did not take anything. You have to believe us." David pulls his hand away. Cannot look at her. The evidence is clear. "Sir is making the right choice," Thomas says, reaching for his phone. But then Emma does something unexpected. She stops crying. wipes her face with her sleeve, looks up, not at David, at the ceiling, at the camera with its blinking red light. She raises her hand, 3 fingers up, then closes them into a fist. The signal, the game David taught her 2 weeks ago, a memory game about paying attention. 3 fingers meant, look again, something is wrong. David freezes, looks at Emma, at the camera, at Thomas. The system was disabled last night? Yes, sir, Thomas says quickly. But only you and I can disable it. There must be a malfunction. Show me the logs. Thomas's face flickers, just for a second, but David sees it. David walks to his computer, opens the security system logs, scrolls to last night, and there it is. System disabled, 22/7. User, Thomas Brennan. Safe accessed, 22:15. User, Thomas Brennan. The room temperature drops. David turns slowly. Thomas backs toward the door, hands raised. That is a glitch. The system has been acting. I saw you. Emma's voice cuts through, small but steady. Everyone turns. Emma steps forward, still holding her mother. What did you see? David kneels, eye level with her. Last night, I woke up thirsty. Went downstairs for water. I saw him. She points at Thomas. He was at Mom's cart, putting something inside. He looked around like he did not want anyone to see, so I hid. I was scared. I did not know what it was then. But I know now. Thomas laughs, sharp, bitter. The child is lying. She is just protecting her thief mother. But David is not listening. He opens his cloud backup, the one that automatically saves footage, even when the main system is off. The one Thomas did not know about because David installed it after Thomas became manager. He pulls up last night's footage. The screen fills with grainy video. Thomas entering the office, opening the safe, taking money, wrapping the watch, walking to the cart, sliding it beneath towels, checking to ensure no one is watching, then smiling, cold, satisfied. The evidence plays on loop, undeniable. David stands, walks toward Thomas. His face shows nothing, no anger, no betrayal, just cold comprehension. 10 years, David says quietly. I trusted you for 10 years. Thomas's mask falls away. His face twists with rage. Trust? You never trusted anyone. You just used me. I worked like a dog while you lived like a king. I ran this house, and you did not even know my son's name. But these two show up, two nobodies, and suddenly you have a heart? I earned what I took. I deserved it. David says nothing, just picks up his phone, calls the police. When they arrive, Thomas is screaming, cursing, fighting the handcuffs. The door closes behind him. Silence crashes back in. Rachel collapses into a chair, sobs into her hands. Emma climbs into her lap, wrapping small arms around her mother's neck. David stands frozen, watching them. This family he almost destroyed. This trust he almost shattered, because he was so convinced everyone was his brother, everyone was his ex-wife, everyone was a betrayal waiting to happen. He kneels beside them. His knees crack against the hardwood, places one hand gently on Rachel's shoulder. I am sorry. His voice breaks. I should have trusted you from the beginning. Rachel looks up, tears streaming. You were protecting yourself. I understand. But David knows the truth. He almost became what he feared most, the person who destroys goodness because he cannot recognize it. The person so broken by the past that he poisons his own future. And if Emma had not been brave enough to signal, if she had not seen Thomas, if she had not remembered the game, he would have sent them to jail, would have proven himself right, would have spent the rest of his life alone and vindicated and empty. Justice was served, But the real question remains, can a heart this broken learn to mend? Can a man this scarred learn to hope? Emma looks at him, reaches out, takes his hand, and in that small grip, he feels the answer. The next morning, police confirm everything. Thomas embezzled $2.3 million over 3 years, forged signatures on 47 documents, created ghost accounts, had a plane ticket to the Cayman Islands for next Tuesday. The evidence is overwhelming. He will spend 15 to 20 years in prison. David receives the news sitting at his desk. He should feel vindicated, victorious. Instead, he feels hollow, because for 10 years he trusted the wrong person, and for 2 weeks he almost destroyed the right ones. That afternoon, he asks Rachel and Emma to come to his office. They enter hesitantly, like animals checking for traps. Rachel's eyes are swollen. Emma clutches her unicorn notebook against her chest. David stands by the window, back to them. Cannot look at them yet. I owe you more than an apology, he begins. His voice is gravel. I doubted you. I was ready to call the police, ready to destroy your lives, because I was too afraid to believe in goodness. Sir, we understand. No, he turns. His eyes are red. You do not understand. For 5 years, I told myself everyone was a threat. Everyone was waiting to betray me. And when you proved me wrong, I did not celebrate. I looked for ways to make you fit my broken worldview, because being wrong meant admitting I wasted 5 years hating the world. Rachel steps forward. You were hurt. Anyone would have. Emma. David kneels, ignoring Rachel, looking directly at the child. You saved your mother, but you also saved me. Do you understand that? Emma shakes her head slightly. You taught me something I forgot. That kindness is not weakness. That trust is not foolish. That some people do the right thing even when no one is watching. He pulls 2 envelopes from his desk. Hands the thick one to Rachel. This is compensation for what you endured, and a full scholarship for Emma. Elementary through university. All expenses. Rachel pushes it back, shaking her head. Sir, we cannot accept. You can. David's voice is firm but gentle. Because this is not charity. This is what Emma deserves. What you both deserve. He opens the smaller envelope. Inside, the silver star necklace, hands it to Emma. My mother gave me this before she died. Told me to give it to someone worthy. I think she meant you. Emma takes it with both hands, looks up at David, then, without warning, hugs him. Her small body presses against his legs, face buried in his suit jacket. He stands frozen. Then slowly, so slowly, his hands come down, rest on her shoulders. Pat awkwardly. His eyes close. Tears slide down his cheeks. Rachel joins them. Her arms encircle both David and Emma, and for a moment, in this office where David once sat alone counting his enemies, 3 people stand together, not the same blood, not the same skin, but family nonetheless. When they separate, Rachel is smiling through tears. Emma holds her necklace like treasure, and David feels something foreign in his chest. Not the sharp pain of betrayal, something softer, warmer, like ice melting after a long winter. But he knows one conversation remains, one phone call he has avoided for 5 years, one relationship he destroyed because his brother destroyed him first. And if he learned anything from Emma, it is this: forgiveness is not weakness. It is the only way forward. That night, after Rachel and Emma leave, David picks up his phone, stares at a contact he never deleted, takes a breath, and dials. A few days later, Rachel comes to David's office carrying a small box, sets it on his desk, sits down, hands folded in her lap. Sir, I need to return the money. David looks up from his laptop. What? I have not earned it yet. Rachel looks directly at him. Her voice is steady. All my life, I taught Emma one thing: never accept what you have not worked for. If I take this money now, I am teaching her that dignity can be bought. I want her to know that respect is built, not given. David sits back in his chair, studies this woman who just turned down $20,000, this woman who would rather struggle than compromise her values. He laughs softly, not mocking, but amazed. Rachel, I have met billionaires and CEOs and politicians. You are wealthier than all of them. She smiles, eyes damp. Thank you for understanding. I have a different proposal. David stands, walks to the window. Work for me as my house manager. Not housekeeper, manager. Official salary of $70,000 a year. Full benefits, long-term contract. You will earn every dollar, and Emma's scholarship remains not as charity, but as employee-dependent benefits. Deal? Rachel stands, staring. You are serious? I have never been more serious in my life. She nods, tears flowing freely now, but she does not bow her head. Stands straight, meets his eyes, extends her hand. I accept, and I promise I will work harder than anyone you have ever employed. They shake hands, not employer and worker, two people who survived a storm and decided to rebuild together. After Rachel leaves, David does something he has been rehearsing for days. Picks up his phone, scrolls to a name he swore he would never call. His thumb hovers over it, hesitates, then presses. The phone rings. Once, twice, 3 times. Hello? A voice he has not heard in 5 years. It is me. David's throat is sand. Silence. Then, David? Yes. A long breath. I am so sorry. I know what I did was... I forgive you. David closes his eyes. I am calling to say I forgive you, and I want to try again. If you do. His brother sobs on the other end. They talk for 90 minutes, about their parents, about the money, about 5 years of silence, about starting over. When David hangs up, he feels lighter, like dropping a backpack full of stones. Rachel knocks, brings tea, sees his face. Good news? Yes, very good news. Emma runs in holding a drawing. Mr. David, look. He takes it, looks. Tears blur his vision. Because in the drawing are 5 people now, the 5th one looks like his brother. Emma somehow knew. Children always do. They see the truth adults spend lifetimes hiding from. 6 months later, the white mansion breathes differently now, no longer silent, but alive. Emma's crayon drawings cover the refrigerator, held by mismatched magnets. The kitchen smells like cinnamon and bread. Rachel bakes every Sunday. In the backyard, where only brown grass once grew, stands a garden, roses, tomatoes. A small swing hanging from the oak tree. David pushed Emma on it yesterday, listened to her shriek with laughter, and felt something he thought was dead, joy. He no longer works until midnight. Instead, he eats dinner at 6 p.m. Listens to Emma describe her day at school, the new girl in class, the science project about volcanoes, the boy who pulled her hair. He gives advice, makes jokes, becomes someone he does not recognize, someone lighter. One evening, Emma asks, Mr. David, are you lonely? David sets down his fork, looks at this child who somehow saw him when he was invisible. No, sweetheart, I am not lonely anymore. Then you are happy? He looks around, at Rachel laughing at something on her phone, at his brother's jacket hanging by the door he visited last weekend, stayed 3 days, cried and apologized and was forgiven, at the drawings and the garden and the warm bread cooling on the counter, at this accidental family. Yes, David says, I think I am learning how to be happy. That night, Alone in his office, he opens the safe, no longer filled with only gold and cash. Now it holds Emma's drawings, Rachel's thank you notes written in careful cursive, photos from Emma's 9th birthday party, the first birthday party David has attended in 8 years. He picks up his favorite photo, 3 people blowing out candles together, flower on Rachel's cheek, frosting on Emma's nose. David mid-laugh, mouth open, eyes closed. He walks onto the balcony, looks up at stars scattered across black, thinks about Thomas, now in prison, about his ex-wife, remarried in Seattle, about his brother, slowly earning back trust, about his parents, gone but somehow present in Emma's kindness, and he feels something unexpected, peace, not happiness that is too loud, too fragile, peace, the quiet knowledge that he is exactly where he belongs. He goes back inside. On his desk sits Emma's newest drawing, 4 figures holding hands, him, Rachel, Emma, and a grandmother who is now a star. Below, in neater letters than before, family does not need the same skin color. Family is where everyone is trusted. David tapes it to the wall beside his degrees and awards. This drawing matters more than all of them. He turns off the light, walks to his bedroom, lies down without checking the cameras, without testing the locks, without wondering who will betray him tomorrow. He closes his eyes and dreams not of theft or lies, but of breakfast, of Emma's laughter, of Rachel humming while she gardens, of his brother visiting next month, of a future built not on fear, but on the fragile, terrifying, beautiful choice to trust. This story has no perfect ending, but it has a better beginning, and sometimes that is enough. So ask yourself, have you built walls so high that love cannot find the door? Are you so afraid of betrayal that you betray yourself? Because here is the truth Emma already knows. Trust is not something we give, it is something we build. One small act at a time. One honest moment at a time. One choice to believe that not everyone is broken. That some people rare and precious as stars deserve your faith. Maybe today you can be one of them, or maybe you can find one. Either way, the door is unlocked. The choice is yours.